Part-time politicians. That's a proposal by Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal. He says the U.S. would be better off if lawmakers spent less time in Washington. Listen.
The most radical idea? They used to be a part-time Congress. Make them part-time, give them term limits. Don't let them become lobbyists when they have to live under the same rules and laws they pass for the rest of us. Maybe you'd see some more common sense coming out of Washington, D.C. Instead, you've got a permanent governing political class. You've got a group of politicians that come to Washington. They promise to change the culture. They become a part of the problem. It becomes a revolving door. They become lobbyists. Nothing ever happens. This won't change the way we have structural reforms. It's what the Founding Fathers intended.
Doug Schoen, Democratic pollster and Fox News contributor, and Angela McGlowan, Fox News political analyst, my guest now. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Jamie.
Great to see you.
I had to check on this because right now members of Congress work 128 days or less a year, 128 days, at 7.4 hours a day on average. That's a pretty sweet gig, as it is, Doug. And many people would say that's already part-time. But what about this as a concept? Bobby Jindal says send them home, let them get second jobs, see what America has to do to earn their living, and you'll get more common sense in Washington, maybe more action.
Well, I don't know. It's Thanksgiving, and I wish you and Angela a very good holiday. And I think what the American people want is not less work, but more constructive work, to work together to try to balance our budget, reduce the deficit, get spending under control. And that, to me, is going to probably take more effort, not less effort. Now, the revolving door doesn't make sense. There's a lot of special perks that congressmen and congresswomen get that I think should disappear. But bottom line, we need more and better effort from our members of Congress, not less.
What do they get, Doug?
Oh, they, have the ability to lobby. They get to go on foreign trips. But they're working hard. The problem is they're working hard frequently to raise money and to fight on a polarized basis, Jamie, with their adversaries, rather than sitting down constructively and saying we've got to put the country first. If that happened, we'd be in a lot better shape.
Angela, you've worked in Washington for years, and so you've had a firsthand look at this. 128 days, which is what the Senate puts in, compared to the 24/7 business that many of us are in, especially if you run your own small business, well, that seems like part-time to many people. Is he on to something, Bobby Jindal?
Listen, Jamie, I'm all for going against the establishment and by any means necessary to create a more prosperous America. And I like Bobby Jindal, having said that he's on the wrong road. Our forefathers meant for us to be lobbyists as American people. Congress works for us, so what we can do to stop the unpopular legislation, which this is what Bobby Jindal wants to do, is we as American people need to keep tabs on our members of Congress.
So you don't mind the analogy to being a lobbyist?
I don't mind the analogy at all, because we as American people, we are lobbyists. That's what it states in our Constitution. And I'm not for term limits. Listen, members of Congress's terms are limited when we go to the ballot box. Members of Congress work for us. So if you're running a small business, Jamie, will you allow the people that work for you to run the business? No, you have to run the business.
All right,
and that's the problem today.
Let me ask Doug and both of you one more question, and I have only a minute left. Doug, in terms of what we have on the table right now, there is so much to accomplish. We got to get an answer on the health care overhaul, whether or not the GOP works to overturn that. The tax cuts, we're hoping for an answer by the end of the year. And the economy needs stability. There's talk maybe even of another stimulus. How can Congress get it done, even on the schedule they're on? You see them putting in the extra time you're talking about?
That's precisely why they have to work harder, not less hard. First, highest priority is to extend the tax cuts for all Americans so that we don't hurt America during what is now an even more crippling recession than we realized. Then we have to move on to job creation and economic stimulus, and as you say, deal with the budget and deal with health care.
All right,
big agenda.
I have less than 20 seconds left. Angela, do you think with the GOP coming into the House that we will see people putting in more time and more effort?
We need to go back to the 104th Congress and what Speaker Newt Gingrich did. Boehner needs to follow suit what he did, and yes, we can get things done. So I think with the new GOP Congress, we will get things done.
All right, and the Democratic Senate, if they get together, it sounds very positive and optimistic on this Thanksgiving. Great to see both of you.
Great to see you, Jamie.
Thank you. Have a good
Happy
holiday.
Thanksgiving.